Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you're listening to Ebird Online. And today I've got a bit of a scoop for you. And for my more pedantic subscribers, scoop means to me some old tawdry bit of gossip that's been hanging around the ether for about, 3 or 4 weeks. And just to whet your appetite, I'm going to give you the title of the scoop. Jasmine, Gino and his sugar baby. Or alternatively, Dangerous Buffoon dices with death. Yes, I've got the full story behind Gino's text to his ex-girlfriend behind Jasmine's back. But as I'm going to prove to you later in this video, Gino's both a scoundrel and a sex pest. By the time I've finished with him, he'll wish he had Jasmine rage ranting him into submission. Want to hear more? Thought so. Just before you do, thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed to my channel, but I want to give a special thank you to everyone that's left comments, especially on my Ximena and Mike video. And so to mark my gratitude, later this week I will be doing a subscribers opinions video, so if you have any thoughts on the relationship between these two, please head over to comments, and you never know, you might feature in the video. But for those who've yet to subscribe, please don't forget to just smash that big red button for more videos like this and for regular content. Finally, please don't forget to smash that like button, just so that my video does well in the algorithm. Right, without further ado, I give you Gino, Jasmine and the sugar baby. So Jasmine and Gino are off to their exclusive private island, by private jet no less, for a trip to what I think might well be Guantanamo Bay. Like I said last week, I just don't trust her. And as by now everybody knows, Gino's positively petrified of having to take off his cap. And he does have a very realistic worry. He's scared that because he knows that God's given people the gift of sight, we'll use that gift to look at him and realise that he's got an egg for a head. But very luckily for Gino, Jasmine doesn't mind. She thinks he looks like Bruce Willis. She must be looking at Gino through the same Snapchat filter that she uses. So as they're making their way to the private jet, it starts absolutely lashing it down with rain. And I can't help but think that's a bad omen for about, 5 hours time, when a sugar baby is going to well and truly piss on their parade. And whilst on the plane, Jasmine reminds us that it's a very luxurious and fancy resort, and she's never been there before because it costs just so much money. And then she goes on to apologise yet again for Strippergate. And Gino said, I've accepted your apology, let's start with a completely clean slate. Really, Gino, let's see how fast you can shit on that slate. I give you 5, 4, 3, 2, he's crapped himself. He really is a dangerous buffoon. And when they finally arrive at the island, I'm somewhat disappointed to discover it's not Guantanamo Bay. Oh well, Jasmine can still waterboard the details of this sugar baby out of him. All is not lost. But it would seem Jasmine's in an extremely thoughtful mood, and she lets production know being on this beautiful island makes me think about my bad behaviour, and she resolves to trust Gino a little bit more and to cut him some more slack. Oh Jasmine, just wait till this afternoon, you'll want to cut him all right. And Jasmine said, I really want to show him the warm part of my personality. Jasmine, he saw that on the first night, 4 or 5 times, so I hear. But nevertheless, she's putting her guard down, and she's going to have more faith in Gino. And guys, all of this thoughtfulness from Jasmine really does make me laugh. You know, it's kind of like when you're watching a corny film, and there's a cop, he's sitting at his desk. He looks over at a picture of his wife and 3 kids. He runs a finger over the perspex front of a photo frame, and he tells his partner, I don't know where I'd be without my family. As soon as I saw this girl, I knew she was the one for me. At that point, you pretty much know that as he speaks, there's a bomb being put underneath said wife and kids, and they'll all be blown to smithereens. And that's the sort of tease that this chit-chat from Jasmine was giving me. They really are setting her up for the farthest of falls. And they're staying in a little cabin right on the beach, and I have to say, it does look like paradise. Panama's definitely on my to-go-to list. And Jasmine stood on the balcony and she said, thank you for this, and she virtually looked as if she was going to cry. And for the first time, I think she may be made of skin and bone. And not just plastic, collagen and Botox. And she said to Gino, I feel so guilty because you've seen the very worst side of my personality. Jasmine, now that you're undertaking some sort of truth and reconciliation, you might want to consider apologising to the viewers. We've all had to put up with your awful attitude as well. She said, I almost feel like I don't deserve it. Jasmine, nobody deserves Gino. Nobody at all. And she finishes up by saying, Gino's proven that he's committed to her, and if she doesn't let her guard down, she might lose him forever. And I'm trying to remember, but I don't think I've ever heard such a good reason for keeping your guard all the bloody way up. So later on in the afternoon, these star-crossed lovers decide to go for a drink at a local bar. And Jasmine tells production that something happened this morning that she wants to ask Gino about. Oh Jasmine, it's not an egg, it's genuinely his head. It's just a funny shape, that's all. But then she said, I'm trying to be calm and I'm trying not to explode. And then she said to Gino, baby, I trust you, but I received a message just this morning. Somebody gave me a friend request, and when I accepted, she said that she was one of your exes and that you're still communicating with her, and you've even told her about me. I wasn't interested in what she had to say, so I blocked her. She was trying to send me something, I don't know what it was, but I'm trying to stay calm because, as you know, usually I'd have a massive explosion. But guys, the look on Gino's face tells you he's effed up big time. He looks mad guilty. Because he's such a weakling, he didn't exactly say anything, so Jasmine prompted him a bit. And she said, I'm going to give you a chance to be honest. Did you text her? What? Oh, Jasmine, thanks so much for the kind offer of telling the truth, but what Gino needs right now is the opportunity to tell a series of lies. He needs to be able to offer the flat denial, the false analogy, the half-truth, or the bullshit. But what's definite is that the opportunity he needs right now is to tell a lie. And Jasmine said, well, more than likely, she's just jealous. Oh, guys, you gotta love Jasmine. When there's literally no problem, she kicks off. And now when there's really something to be irritated about, she's as calm and cool as a cucumber. But how long for? But guys, the whole of this time, Gino's fidgeting and looking left and looking right. Oh Gino, production can't help you. You know that. And finally he admitted that yes, he had been texting her. And she said, well, what did you say? And he said, well, I wanted to let her know that I'd met the woman of my dreams. Gino, do you mean nightmares? And Jasmine said, when was this? And he said, oh, it was a little while ago. And you can see he's kind of trying to work out how many months ago it was. When, Gino? 2 or 3 days ago. 2 or 3 days ago? Oh my God. So whilst you were on holiday with Jasmine, you were texting your ex? Jasmine said very little, but what she did say will strike a death knell into the heart of Gino, because she said, I'm going to unblock her and I'm going to text her back because I want to know what it was that she was trying to send me. And at the end of the segment, Gino tells production that he's made a big mistake, and he said it's not going to be good. And Gino's feet are shaking in his big sandals, and his knees are knocking in his homeless chic shorts. He's fidgeting, self-soothing and rubbing his hands together. Meanwhile, Jasmine's busy texting. Oh dear, she looks up from her phone and she said, Gino, did you send this girl naked pictures of me? And that's where we end the segment. So guys, here's the backstory about Gino and Jasmine's naked pictures. So this girl wrote into Reddit and she sent a series of pictures which I'll show you. But first up, she wants to give us a little bit of context. She said, I met Gino during a dark and desperate time in my life, figures, when I needed some financial help. And she goes on to explain that she worked as a stripper in a strip club and he tried to make her feel bad because she was a sex worker. And she says, I tried moving forward onto men that have sex without hats on, but Gino would not leave me alone. He would email, text and Facebook message me photos of other girls, sometimes nude photos. He was meeting off seeking arrangements. Now guys, seeking arrangements is kind of a sugar daddy, sugar baby website. And so older men that have, well, I guess some money, pay to go out on dates with, and probably more, with much younger girls. And so apparently Gino would brag to her that he paid them so much more than he was paying her. And he always used to say he was so happy with these new girls. And she said this went on for many, many years, and she used to ignore him because he just wouldn't stop. And then he started sending her some stuff about Jasmine. And she thought nothing of it, but then 90 Day Fiancé production contacted her and wanted her to do a segment for the show. Of course she didn't want to because it was a dark period in her life and she's completely moved on now. But nevertheless, she chose to contact Jasmine on her own and send Jasmine back her own nudes. And so apparently Jasmine and Gino started calling her all sorts of names. And Jasmine said something like, why would he want you when he has steak at home? And I found this hilariously funny because Jasmine, you're a bloody vegan. And so anyway, when Gino told this whole story to production, he tried to frame it as if I've got 2 hot girls fighting over me. And she said she hasn't been interested in him for many, many years. And in fact, she never was. It was a seeking arrangements kind of deal. So what do I make from all of this? Well, I think Jasmine's on extremely dicey ground. Because having a look over Reddit, he's done this with several girls. And he's allegedly spent many, many years since he got divorced from his ex-wife, trawling around these sorts of websites. Now the reason it came to my eyes is because I was just a bit nosy about Gino. I seem to remember Gino saying when he was in the chemist that time that he hasn't had a girlfriend for many years. And you know he got Viagra, so the implication was that he hadn't had sex for a long time. But then Jasmine said, wow, he's amazing in bed. They did it multiple times on the first night, and he said, I didn't even use my Viagra. And at that I smelt a rat. I always know when someone who possibly shouldn't be that confident is super confident in bed. There's going to be some shadizzle about them on the internet. And lo and behold, I was right. So I believe the girl because she's come up with some texts and obviously she had nudes of Jasmine. There's no way that you can possibly justify to me why your ex-partner of many years ago has nude photos of your new partner, unless you were trying to push buttons and make her jealous. So there are quite a few different reasons I've come up with as to why Gino did this. And of course the first one's quite simple. He's a manipulative little fuckwit. But I think that goes without saying. But my second theory for this is he potentially wants this ex-girlfriend back again. It's surprising that she hasn't seen him for over 6 years, yet he still consistently sends her photos, sends her texts, and contacts her on social media. Why? If you've got no interest in her, what would be the point? No, I think it would be a very good calling card for Gino to be able to say, look what I've pulled, look how fit Jasmine is, and I'm going to be on TV. So to me that is a very real possibility, and when you add in the fact that just a couple of days ago Jasmine was acting like a weirdo and having her terrible twos temper tantrums every moment. So he may well have thought to himself, well, I'll have my 2 weeks here and then when I get back home I'll jog Jasmine on and try and pick back up with this ex-girlfriend. It's possible. And Jasmine ought to think about that. When she's busy feeling smug and saying, I'm with Gino now, I have him. Do you have him? And how long for? And under what parameters? And as we know, Gino's bought Jasmine new lips, new breasts, a new butt. And it's a real shame he couldn't buy her a new attitude. But I suppose we can't have it all. But you'll all be glad to know I also have a theory as to why Jasmine hasn't kicked off as much, and I think this is perfect for her. It's a get out of jail free card. She now knows he's a freak and a bit of a weirdo, and it's probably not somebody she's going to want to marry and settle down and have kids with. So I think she's just going to use him to get to America, and she's going to do exactly what Natalie did, wait until the green card comes through, and then look around for better options, which I guess won't be hard to do. And just for clarification, I think she was going to do that anyway, but now she can do it with total impunity. So guys, let me know what you think to this story. What would you do if your partner disseminated your nudes around the net? I think it's absolutely appalling, and on my life, if somebody did it to me, not that they would because the Ebird doesn't have any nudes floating around, but if someone did do it to me, as God is my witness, I'd move to bloody Scotland and record it because guess what? In Scotland, it's a crime. Yeah, if Gino did that to me, he'd pay alright, he'd pay. And what do you guys think to Jasmine's reaction? I think it was really strange. So muted. She's jealous of a random girl that works behind the bar in a fish and chip shop, but she doesn't care about his ex-partner who has nude pictures of her. Make this make sense. The only thing that I've managed to come up with thus far is that Jasmine's low-key happy that he used to pay on these seeking arrangement websites because she knows now she can get X amount of money out of him. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's the kind of relationship she'd be very happy in with Gino. Anyway guys, please put your comments down below and I'll get on with my next video. Also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you've yet to do so and make the Ebird a very happy Ebird. You've been listening to Ebird Online and I bid you good day.